Hello everybody, welcome back. It is I, DJTurtleVortex, and in this video, I'm asking you, is Marvel Rivals casual or competitive? Yes, I'm fully aware most people will immediately go into the comments and say, it's a casual game and it's made to be played for fun. Stop. Give me until the end of this video and let me change your mind, as I want to share some other perspectives that perhaps you haven't thought of, as well as why this is always a discussion in the game and not a black and white answer. Why is this even a point of contention in the first place though? Is it because of balance? Sometimes. Is it pros versus casual? A tale as old as time? Or is it the genre of the game? That's what I want to dive into first. Isn't a 6v6 team-based shooter inherently competitive? Isn't the spirit of the game competitive? For some, winning is also a metric for having fun aside from gameplay. And in order to win, one must be competitive, no? And if you're not winning, you're not having fun. And you're not winning because of XYZ reasons like character balance, throwers, broken matchmaking, etc. So you look to those reasons and say, this is why the game is failing or sucks or whatever. How many people come in here and say, I love this character, I like doing this playstyle, but because I can't or it doesn't work, I am leaving or I quit. All other games in this genre are competitive by nature as well. Overwatch, Paladin, CSGO, Apex, Deadlock, Valorant, Rainbow Six Siege, etc. They all have esports, they all have ranked modes, and this game is no different. But I don't want to talk too much about the pro aspect, even though, if there is an opportunity for it, that niche will be carved. And NetEase has no qualms doing it themselves, as they financially support Marvel Rivals with million-dollar prize pools or with smaller tournaments that are worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, easily outpacing some of the games I listed prior. I mean, the biggest controversy of the game, the drama that went mainstream, was about vibes or competition. I mean, you are queuing up whether it's quick play or ranked to work with other players as a team to beat other players to win the game. Is this not competitive by definition? And that's the point I want to make. Marvel Rivals is competitive by nature, but the community calls it casual because they don't want to take it seriously, which is fine, but not always right. This leads me to my next point. The lack of team play that's been festering in Marvel Rivals. It's twofolds, in my opinion. One hand is the community, and the other hand is the developers. I'm going to start with the community, because lately there's been a surge in toxicity, cheaters, throwers, and an overall sentiment that quick play, air quotes, has gotten sweaty. Of course, when anyone says, this is the most toxic community ever, it's anecdotal and an individual assessment of their observations and overall environment. If you play Marvel Rivals and not so much other games similar to it, your experience of toxicity will only come from Marvel Rivals. But if you've played many other games, you'll have a wider view on what you have experienced as truly toxic, air quotes, or otherwise. Me personally, this is something I've seen in, for example, Overwatch and other games. So I wouldn't say it's the most toxic, rather it's just as toxic as the others I've played, but that's just me. This toxicity that I'm talking about spreads into quick play, the casual parts of the game as everyone likes to call it. You get criticized for not playing well, for picking a certain hero, not picking a certain hero. You get called out for mistakes when you're just learning to play a character. Some might say just play versus AI, but if the goal is to improve, you need to eventually play against other players to see how your skills match up against them. People will look at the scoreboard and blame the healers, the tanks, the DPS, a certain character, a certain meta. And I'm not perfect, I've done it all the times myself, but I don't go on mic and spew it to others, I just keep it to myself. And you should do that too, because if you don't, then the other person or other, receiving players might decide to throw after hearing that. And man, do people throw so easily in this game. The mental is at an all-time low. Holy smokes. People will throw for anything, like picking a hero they don't like, banning something they don't like, not doing a specific thing, not healing them even though you are, and sometimes it's just self-inflicted. They'll throw themselves into the enemy and blame the team for not helping, and then decide to throw. There's so many other reasons that are petty, pitiful, pathetic, etc. And then if you're in ranked, you have to try to babysit them or coddle them to even try to win or salvage any amount of integrity left in the match. It's come to the point that if a team loses the first team fight, you see a surrender tag almost immediately. And I'm sure everyone has had this experience before, especially on winnable games. And of course, there's cheaters. Yes, I'm aware that they're kind of like pests. They'll get into any game, so it's not special to Rivals, but Rivals doesn't have good protection against cheaters. The game isn't even that well polished. The game freezes, for example, when you take too much damage or die, or there's weird stutters when you're coming back from the spawn room or whatever. We all know the performance of this game is lacking and needs significant improvements, but that's besides the point. I also want to bring up how, and I've read this from comments in my previous video, people don't like switching heroes or adapting to the match. Yes, counter swapping does ruin the fun somewhat, but we all know the rules. If you want to beat Poke, you have to go dive. If you want to beat dive, you have to switch to brawl. And if you're struggling against brawl, you play Poke. This is a bit more nuanced, so give me some grace while I try to explain my point of view, outside of quick play at least. Not every character should have an answer to every comp you face in Marval Rivals. That's just how the game is. That's just how the nature of shooters are. Want to play Black Panther? Well, you might have to face against a Namor, Thing, etc. if the other team doesn't like going up against Black Panther, or if they can't handle it. Now, you can switch and adapt to their changes, or you can stick with it and get flamed by your teammates if it doesn't work. Devil Dino is no different. He just makes people switch to other heroes to beat him. That doesn't make a character overpowered in my opinion, rather it makes the game dynamic because technically you can brute force against Dino, but there's an element of team play that requires it that players don't want to engage with. So what is inherently competitive becomes casual because players don't want to play with a team. They want to play with what they like, and then they blame others for not switching or adapting, for not stopping the thing they don't like, when it's on the whole team to work together and win. This is the lack of team play that I want to highlight that the community is responsible for. This isn't required for quick play, but is necessary for competitive mode at least. But it does bleed into quick play. And wasn't Dino lauded by the casual player base for finally being a cool tank that everyone can enjoy? I love Devil Dinosaur. I think he's a super fun character. But when players face him, they are met with obstacles and challenges that push them to competitive aspects of the game that they reject. They call that OP, broken, and not fun. So what the fuck is fun then? This connects to the developers and the lack of team play that they've been reinforcing ever since season 3 or 4. It's debatable where, but we know this is where team play has started to decline. The rise of all-star characters and the buffs to support characters after the fact. What do I mean by all-star characters? It's literally characters that have little to none weaknesses, like Phoenix, Daredevil, Gambit, Elsa on release, and now Black Cat. These all-star characters reinforce the individual aspect of the game and push players away from a team game because these characters do not rely on others. Daredevil doesn't need a tank, he blocks everything, gets bonus health, and can get out. Phoenix doesn't rely on healers because she can self-heal and has many getaway options. Black Cat can literally do everything in the game with almost no repercussions or cooldown to manage. Has anyone else noticed this trend? And now, because of these all-star characters jumping and punishing the supports are getting buffed to levels of self-sufficiency that isn't balanced or healthy for the game, in my opinion. Invis's self-shield drew some controversy in the past, Luna having a self-snowflake, Gambit having a response to everything in the game, and a broken ult to this day that keeps him in ban jail. Remember, not too long ago, when we got 3 bans per team, and everyone was banning supports for a while? Or remember the support strike, I typed air quotes on the strike, that pushed supports to this level of the game? I don't mind supports having ways to defend themselves and even killing or punishing poor dives or brawl. But now it's flipped on its head to the point where we have DPS Lunas that focus on DPS and flanking more than healing as a team. Another thing is the concerning lack of team-ups. Since the start of this year, the team-ups have been getting increasingly, or rather decreasing, in not only quantity but quality. I'll start with quality. First of all, we literally got only one new team up with Season 8 and no other team up changes. Last season, we got 3 new team ups. You've probably already forgot about one of the 3 because you never see it. But of these 3, the one you forgot is completely unique, while the other 2 are entirely derivative and non-special. The unique one is Adamant Storm, which is pretty novel and a fun way to play if you ever somehow get both on your team. The other 2, Luna gets the same ability as White Fox. For whatever reason, NetEase glazes the shit out of Luna. And the other is Black Cat's team up with White Fox and Cap. Cap's shield becomes accurate and not random, while White Fox just gets an extra Fox Spirit that is a circle AoE instead of the rectangle one that's a straight line. It's a bit of a reductive description, but this has happened in Season 6 as well, with Fantastic getting something that honestly should have been a buff/change instead of a team up, and only 3 team ups, one of which is a remix of an old one, Doctor Strange Hulk and now Doctor Strange Invis, the Deadpool one, which is unique, and the Penny Parker one with Spider-Man. These team ups don't reinforce teamwork. They simply amplify the individual in a mundane way, or they just improve the character in a way that should have been a buff/change. I personally want to see Year 1's level of team ups. You know, the Shadow Clones, Thor, Cap, and Storm, the completely new methods of alternate fires, the ultimate combos, Cap and Bucky, the grab and throws like Fastball or The Thing and Johnny. We need more team ups that reinforce teamwork with tanks and other tanks, or supports and other supports, instead of selfishly playing to a character's strengths or just making something better when that could just have been a change for the better. Because of a lack of this team play, in my opinion, the game skews towards players looking out for themselves mostly, which is why so many players are tired of solo tanking or not having anyone select healers at the beginning of a match. There's real fatigue in those aspects of the game, which festers negativity, calls for changes or buffs, or throwing, such as I'm not healing or tanking with another player, but nobody wants to budge because they want to play Duelist. Yes, the overwhelming disparity between Duelist characters and tanks and supports also contributes to this. After hearing all these viewpoints, is the game truly casual or competitive? Can you have both? When NetEase balances the game, who is it for? Is it for casuals? What makes a casual? Skill level, playtime, experience? Is it for pros? To develop an esports scene? We have MRC, we have Ignite, we have sponsored tournaments with millions and hundreds of thousands on the line? Or the forgotten demo right in the middle that just wants to have a decent experience every time they log in? You tell me. If you've come this far, thank you for watching. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments down below, and if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe. I'll see you all on the next video.